Hi, I'm b.Eastman. The purpose for a revenue plan is to communicate how we're going to make our numbers and for other people to be able to understand how they're going to be able to contribute to the success of the company or to the territory. The reason that revenue plans generally fail is because they're unrealistic in some fundamental way, and we'll cover that in more detail in this recipe. As you probably recall from our previous video, this is the list that we use as a checklist to make sure that everything is in place for us to have a reasonable revenue plan. First, we want to make sure that we've got an identified and validated ideal customer profile for our target segment. We want to make sure that we've got a product that's deliverable to these customers as it exists today or within a reasonable period of time, say 30 to 60 days. We want to make sure that we've got enough qualified prospects to meet the numbers, assuming that we're only going to close 1 out of 2 or 3 qualified prospects that are due to close in any given month. Number 4 is that we want to make sure that we've got a reasonable number of qualified leads that will turn into qualified prospects in the period of time that we're looking for. We want to make sure that we've got enough sales resource, particularly customer-facing sales resource, to make sure that the customers that we've engaged with are successful. And lastly, we want to make sure that we've got a predictable, repeatable, and scalable sales process that we can tune and improve over time. These are the most common fails that we see against those plans. The number of qualified accounts is simply too low. If we assume that we're going to have to close every qualified lead in any given period of time, it's going to be a problem. The other is that the size of the initial deals is simply too high. Often we end up assuming that the whole deal is going to be an enterprise deal from the very beginning, and in most cases, the first deals are either going to be pilots or some kind of a small POC. The other is that the customers are going to scale incredibly fast. If we look at it and we have an assumption that the customers are going to scale within the first month or 2, it's an unrealistic plan. Most of the time, it's going to take at least 3 to 6 months to demonstrate some success with the initial pilots before we're able to scale the business across the enterprise. Sometimes it can take as long as 12 months because it goes into the next budget year. The sales process is expressed simply too short. It takes time for us to actually execute a plan and deliver a success in any given account. Basically, this means that the deals are not spread out evenly throughout the year. And again, they can ramp throughout the course of the year, but assuming that we're going to close everything in the last month of either the year or the quarter is unrealistic. And the deals that we have in the pipeline are dependent on some kind of a feature that's not currently available, and therefore we're accepting risk associated with being able to close that deal on time. Who all is affected by these bad plans? Investors see hundreds, if not thousands, of business plans and can immediately spot unrealistic business plans, and therefore they won't invest or they'll lose confidence. For any of us that have ever worked in a company where the plans are unrealistic, it's demoralizing to know that no matter how hard we work, we're never going to be able to meet the plans. If the plan isn't derived and communicated, it becomes unclear how others can contribute. People simply don't know, how can I help to make the company and or the territory successful? It's important that we take time to work through the revenue plan with the team that's going to be affected and that we're going to depend on to deliver against the plan. We need to validate that the plan is realistic. It needs to be tough, but it must be doable. We have to be able to understand what we need to do to execute and be successful against the plan. And lastly, the plan should not assume that everything is going to go perfectly. There has to be a buffer built into the plan for us to have success. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or would like to discuss in more detail, please feel free to contact me via email or leave a comment in the recipe below. Thanks again and have a great day.